Ain't neither one of us faithful to each other. So in conclusion on that, that marriage didn't last neither. But during that marriage, I was introduced to a lot of other things besides just marijuana. I was introduced to cocaine and started doing that a little bit, but I didn't really care for that, Anybody that had never done it, I can tell you what it does. It makes you so nervous you can't stand it. It feels good, but you're so nervous. If you're sitting in a room, you're liable to tear the top off a chair or something to get up and be able to do something. You can't handle it. And then I started thinking a lot about how to make meth and go into that because that was where the money was, I was after the money. I wanted to be able to support myself, buy what I wanted to, do what I wanted to, not have to depend on anybody. I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do. So I changed and started trying to get into the meth scene. So I went, found out how to make it. And I want to read y'all something out of the Bible. It's Revelations 21:8. And it says, "But the fearful, the unbelieving, and the abominable, the murderers, the whoremongers, and the sorcerers, adulterers, and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." Sorcery is one of those things. I got this book, and I'll tell you all a little bit about it in a minute, but I want to read this to you. One definition of sorcery is the use of an evil supernatural power over people. Another is pharmakoi, I think that's the word, I ain't for sure, or pharmacy, which means the cutting of herbs or mixing of potions. Well, every time you make meth, you do it a certain way with lots of ingredients that most of them will kill you. If you've done it by yourself without mixing it right, they're going to kill you. If you spill it on you, it's going to burn you. Bad stuff. Well, I kept on messing around like that, and me and my second wife, we got divorced, and we, at this time, I was cooking on and off again all the time, and I decided as I said, I was a Christian, and I knew better than to be doing it, and God would be dealing with me. He'd be like, my Holy Spirit being there saying, "Boy, this ain't right. Look at what you're doing. Look at the families and lives you're tearing up." And the devil be in the back of the same other shoulder there and saying, "Yeah, but look at the money you give them over there to pay this bill. And look at the money you give this guy to stay out of jail for back pay child support or something, So I'd be trying to justify it. But anyways, I decided, I've been battling with it on and off, and I said, well, I'm just going to stop cooking. I ain't going to do this no more. I know it's wrong. I'm going to straighten up. I'm going to quit. So I stopped for a total of about 2 months. Sounds like a long time, don't it? Then I had a buddy that come to me one day, and he says, "Ross, I need your help." I said, "All right, well, what do you need?" And he says, "Well, I owe these guys from Parsons a whole lot of money. And they have come to my house so far and knocked all the windows out of my vehicle, and they've shot all the windows out of my house. I need you to help me make the money to pay them off." Well, here's the old devil on that shoulder again. He says, "Oh yeah, you need to help him. You need to help him. You need to mix up some dope and give it to him so he can sell to pay his bill." Well, after I did that, I never did really slow down for a long time. And the first time in 2002, I wound up getting busted. I got 3 years in jail, which I only had to do 6 months of it, so I thought, well, that ain't no big deal. I went in jail and came back out, and didn't faze me a bit. 6 months in jail, I thought that was a nap. Anybody that's been on meth or knows, you stay up for days and days. If you continually do it, you'll just stay up. You'll just stay up. They'll say, oh yeah, I slept. Well, they slept an hour. That's no rest. Your mind's running 90 to nothing. You think you got things to do here and things to do there, and really you ain't got nothing to do but slow down. So I get out in 2002, and like I said, that didn't really faze me. And I'm still running just as wild as you can get it. And from 2002 to 2004, I was booked in Gibson County 17 different times. But before I got, at the end of, from 2002 to 2004, I was booked in 17 different times, like I said. In 2004, I wound up getting busted again. But before I go there, I'll tell you. One night, I was going to, I felt like I needed to make some dope to make some more money. So me and a buddy of mine, we loaded up in a car, and we had these people drive us up there, and we went all the way to Mayfield, up by Mayfield, a little town called Fancy Farm, Kentucky. I don't know if any of y'all know where that's at, but it's a pretty good ways away from here. And we're out there, and we're stealing anhydrous from the co-op. And about that time, cops come in. Got the blue lights going. And I'm standing up on top of one of them wheels on one of them tanks, and I'm looking, and I see them, and I say, oh man, they got us. We got to go. So I jumped down off that thing. There's probably 4 inches of snow on the ground, 4 to 6 inches of snow. So they had us, you would think. And we take off, and I go around the edge of the thing, and my buddy comes running around the edge of one of them tanks and hits his shin on one of them tongues. Face plants out there in the gravel. He's like, hold up, wait a minute. Help me up. I'm like, boy, you better get up. I'm gone. I wasn't waiting around on him. If he got caught, he knew the consequences when he got into it. That's the way I felt about it, Well, during that time, we take off, and I run off in the woods. He runs one way once he gets up, and I run another. And like I said, there's snow on the ground now. And I run up in this woods, and I find there's cops on the other side of the woods already coming up with four-wheelers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm caught. I'm fixing to go to prison for sure this time. I ain't going to make it, So I sit down there, and I'm debating on what to do, and I sit down by this old tree that's laid over. The ground's all covered with snow and everything. And when I stood up, that tree had been covering an old sinkhole off an old pond. And I fell off in there. I fell about 3 foot, and I caught myself at the back of my neck and my legs. And I couldn't reach the sides, so here I am in this hole holding myself. Couldn't go nowhere. I was stuck. Couldn't climb out, couldn't reach the sides. I was just hanging there. Then the next thing I hear is, boo, boo. They got a dog on a chain. Here they come. I said, well, I'm going to prison. Then I started praying. I said, Lord, if you'll let me get out of this, I promise you I ain't never going to go back to it again. I promise. I'm going to give it up. I ain't never going to do it again. I want y'all to know that dog walked up. If that was me in that hole, he walked up this close to me and never barked. That dog never barked. Looked dead in my face and never barked. Turned and walked off. I could hear him up there conversating. Well, the tracks lead to the hole. Here I am laying in it. You know, just stuck. So as soon as they walk off, I relax and just fall. And I fall pretty good ways. Hit the ground. Wind up going up that old ditch and getting out. And me and my buddy both made it away from them. We finally made it out. And we walked from Fancy Farm back up to Mayfield and called and got somebody to come get us and take us back to Tennessee. Well, that still didn't make me stop. So I come back, and it made me stop for a minute, but not very long, shorter than the 2 months that I thought was a long time before. So I started back cooking, and I was running around just wild as can be. And as I said, if you're a Christian, you claim to be a Christian, and you're doing wrong, God's going to punish you. Get ready for it, because it's going to happen.